Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Shayla Ashley here. So when I posted my pregnancy video, one of you commented and said that you actually would like to hear my birth story. So here it is. My son was born on April 14th of 2020. He was born at, and this is so bad that I have to it doesn't just come immediately to me, but he was 23 inches, I believe, long, and he was 7.5 pounds and 5 ounces. 7 pounds and 5 ounces. Dang. Listen, y'all, okay? The details get a little blurry. It was a stressful day. So anyways, yeah, I went into labor on April 14th. My actual due date was April 4th, 2 days after my son's father's birthday. So he was really close to actually being born on his birthday. That would have been crazy. Yeah, that morning I can just remember, so before I actually get into the actual birth story, I had went to my 39th, I believe it was my 40th actually, my 40th week check-in visit at the midwifery office, and they basically checked my cervix, let me know that I was a whole centimeter dilated, and I was like, yes, woo, I'm dilating already. In my mind, this is my first baby. That's totally normal to be dilated well before. You can be dilated well before you give birth. But I was optimistic because I wanted a natural birth. I commend all the moms that have done that, and it's great if you can, because I think it's just great having that connectedness and that being able to truly feel everything going on inside of you and working with your baby during that process. But totally getting off topic here. So I was a whole centimeter dilated, and I was like, yay, having an internal party right there on the little check table. And I get home and everything was fine. I did cramp up a little bit. And fast forward a week later, I was like almost maybe like a day or two away from my next checkup appointment, my 41st week check-in. And it was about 5:30 in the morning, and I started to experience some cramps, unlike the cramps that I had been experiencing my whole pregnancy. Okay, these ones were a lot stronger, and they just had like this, they felt a little bit different. They were, instead of like that low, dull, achy, it had more of a, this is just the best way I can describe it. It was like more of an electrical feeling to it. It had more life. You could tell that something was different about these cramps. It was more like a zappy pain, if I could describe it that way. It just had that vibe to it. So each cramp, now they were contractions. I didn't know it then, but these were contractions. And each one that came, it almost had like a stinging to it inside of my uterus. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Got up, decided to take a shower. I had already been out on maternity leave because I was 2 weeks past my actual due date. The doctor, they go off of a different cycle scale than I did, because I knew Noah's exact conception day. But of course they just went off of when did you have your last period, and we'll just go from there. So in all actuality, I was really right around 38, 39 weeks pregnant when I went into labor, but the doctor, they had me down between 41 and 42. They were actually going to induce me at my 41st appointment, 41st week appointment, if I did not go into labor on my own. So thankfully I did. I wanted to have my body give birth to my baby when my body was ready, when my baby was ready. So I hop in the shower, and I knew that would like help soothe myself if these were like Braxton Hicks, false contractions. And I kind of timed it. I didn't like do it with like an app or anything. I was just, being mindful of the time, looking at my phone. And they were right around like 7 to 8 minutes apart in the beginning. And they were coming fairly regularly. So it was concerning for me. I didn't call my family or my son's father yet, nothing like that. I just, kept a watchful eye over it while I was in the shower. And I decided to kind of distract myself, started washing my hair and all that. And they kind of tapered off at around like an hour later. So they started around 5:30 in the morning and tapered off around 6:30. They were still coming, but they were more so 10 minutes, 12 minutes apart. So, so I distracted myself by doing my hair. That's a process in and of itself. So I had a little project to work on while I was dealing with the contractions. And I took a nap. My mom ended up coming over to my apartment just to spend some time with me, exercise. We walked around the block a few times. And by this point, as the day went on, I thought maybe the contractions would go away altogether, because there were certain hours that I didn't get contractions at all. But again, I just place emphasis on the fact that these contractions were not like the ones, cramps, right? That's what it kind of feels like. My whole pregnancy, I had cramps. Some women don't experience that, but I definitely did. I had cramps from the very beginning to the end. And to be honest, it felt like I was on my cycle my whole pregnancy. There were moments where I was convinced that I was going to start, not to be graphic, but to bleed out, because I'm like, it literally feels like I'm on my period right now. But it's normal. It's just like the feeling of your uterus stretching is what my doctor told me. So as your uterus is growing, that's what it feels like. So anyways, these contractions, they stung a little bit. They had that electrical feeling, and we're walking around getting exercise. I'm eating lightly to keep my energy levels up throughout the day. The contractions started to come back toward the evening, and this time they were regular, but I was still able to function, sleep, move around. My son's dad ended up coming home, and just, we were waiting it out, seeing what would happen. It was about 6:30, I woke up from a nap, and I had soaked in a tub previous to my nap to help with the pain, right? That's like the midwife's epidural. It really didn't do much but make me hot, guys, unfortunately. So took a nap, woke up, and I knew that what woke me up was that the severity of the contractions kicked up a notch. And I'm sorry, but I completely left out. Earlier in that day, I called my midwife's office. So I let them know that the contractions were coming very, very regularly, and they told me just, come in, get my cervix checked, and they would see how much I had dilated since my last visit. So I can't believe I left this out. My apologies, guys. This was a long time ago. We're coming up on a year. Now. I can't believe it. Time flew by so fast. So I did go in, they checked me, and I was a whole 1 centimeter more dilated. And I'm like, dang, okay. But so yeah, it wasn't a surprise, right? To be honest, I thought maybe I could have been in labor for much longer than I actually was. So, because sometimes that can drag on for days. You can feel contractions my mom had contractions for a whole week before she gave birth to my sister. So I went back home. Again, as I said, I soaked in the bathtub. I tried to do all my natural, coping mechanisms, walking around, getting rest. And when I woke up from that last nap around 6:30 that evening, coming from 5:30 this morning, I was pretty exhausted, and the contractions woke me up. So I knew, I'm like, all right, let me turn on my app now. Let me start timing these, because they're coming back to back to back. By this point, they were coming between every 5 to 6 minutes apart. I showered again, not to be gross, but you leak a lot of fluid on your pregnancy. It's just constant drip. It's just a moist experience. There's a lot of dampness going on. I highly suggest for any of you that are in the beginning of your pregnancy, or wherever you are, if you are pregnant, to always wear liners. Like that just, it's a non-negotiable, right? You almost could get away with wearing like a light pad, because there's just so much fluid that leaks constantly. And some women, you know, that's your amniotic fluid, right? And some women leak it worse than others during their pregnancy and end up having to, unfortunately, deliver their babies sooner than expected. So but it's normal to leak. So I was leaking a lot. I had to shower quite frequently, and so I showered and I got dressed and I'm walking from my bedroom to the bathroom, and all of a sudden my water just gushed everywhere. Like it wasn't a trickle, it wasn't like am I peeing or what's going on here? No, it just, the floodgates opened. And my son, I didn't realize it, but he had a bowel movement, so there was meconium all in my fluid, and I had on black leggings, so you couldn't see anything. I didn't even know that he had a bowel movement until I got to the hospital. So instead of trying to change my clothes or anything, I just wrapped a towel around my waist because I felt so much pressure after that pulling down. I could really feel like things were changing, and I was, you know, at that point, once your water breaks, you know that labor is imminent. So we had already packed up the car earlier, so we hop in the car. My son's father was super calm, everything. It was great. It wasn't like the movies where you're like freaking out and rushing, because we were about 15 minutes away from the hospital tops, and I live in Syracuse, New York. The traffic is not even a thing. So we get in the car, we drive, I call, let them know I'm on my way, and they're still trying to figure out, like, I let them know my water broke, and they're like, oh, okay, how far apart are your contractions? You know, did you talk to your midwife's office? Did you call your doctor? And I'm like, listen, okay, I'm driving in the car, I'm on my way to the hospital. You can ask me any questions you got when I get there, because I'm in labor and we about to get it popping. So we get to the hospital. I'm getting irritable by this point because I'm tired. My body's been aching all day. I've been cramping all day. And the security guard is like giving me the hardest time getting in the hospital. Now I know COVID, Corona, like I get it. We had our masks on and there's extra security measures, but this dude was going all through my bag, having us go back to the car and put stuff in the car. You know, it was just a lot, right? And I'm like, okay, I let him know that I was not about to play games with the bag check. We can leave the bag right here and I will go up to the room so I can get tended to. He's going all through my purse. We end up getting through that, figuring out, you know, like where we needed to go. Get upstairs, we got the masks on, everything. They let us know the rundown protocol. It was kind of sad for me because I couldn't have any family members there. It was just going to be me and my son's father, and that was a hard decision for me to make because, dang, this video is getting long. I'm going to try to wrap this up. That was a hard decision for me to make. I can see the timer going. And, you know, I wanted my family to be there. I wanted my mom, my sister, everybody, you know, the people close to me, right? You guys know, Kyle, my son's dad, we didn't have the best relationship throughout my pregnancy. So this was a huge decision for me to make, to have him be the only person there and my support during this experience being my first child. But I felt like it was only right. It was our son. We were bringing him, we created him together. We're gonna bring him into the world together. So, you know, it was just us. The nurses are letting us know, like, exactly, like, we got to keep our masks on. We can't bring anything outside, into the room, like, food-wise. We pretty much had to pack up everything that we were going to bring in at that point, right? Because the ward that we were in, the labor and delivery ward, once you go into recovery, they let us bring other stuff in. But we had all our stuff in the room. And they check me over, they see the meconium, and they start checking my cervix. And I'm like, yep, I gotta be about 6 centimeters the way these contractions are coming. By the time we got to the hospital, they were right about 5 minutes apart, 4 to 5, right? I gotta be 6 centimeters at least. I gotta be halfway there because they were so strong, you guys. She checked me, I was 3 centimeters. I was like, no, no, don't tell me that. But I had faith because of all the birth videos I watched and what I knew about giving birth. Things can go from 0 to 100 real quick. So I got back in the bathtub and decided to soak once more. And that's when things took a turn for the unexpected. I'm not gonna say the worst. It was just unexpected. I started getting the chills. I was sweating. I got super nauseous. It became a full body experience. Fatigue hit me, like a whole nother level of fatigue came over me. And I just felt completely, I was feeling it from my head to my toes, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything just revved up a notch. And that's, it's just a part of labor, right? Your body is about to give life, so or bring life forth. So it was to be expected, but I just couldn't handle it, y'all. I was too irritable and too sleepy. So the natural thing didn't work out for me. I was like, I will take whatever you got, Alex, for 200. Let me get the fentanyl, the epidural, whatever. They gave me like 2 medications, one to help with nausea and one to help me sleep. And she was like, yeah, you're just gonna feel like you've been day drinking all day, and then you'll be able to take a nap. That's like pretty much the side effect. You'll have like a little like sluggishness to you. So I was like, all right. Gave me that, slept for a few hours, woke up from the contractions again. I was like, yep, let me get that epidural. The anesthesiologist came in. He's explaining to me what he's about to do. And those contractions were hitting me. And I'm telling you, I do not like, you just gotta focus, right? And I didn't want to be asked any questions. I didn't want anybody like demanding anything, like for me to read anything. I just wanted to ride those waves of those contractions and just give me the epidural shot. Turns out it's not a shot that they actually give you. It's a catheter that they inject into your back, to your spinal cord. And they just kind of continuously, they give you like this pump thing, and you can just continuously pump epidural into you. So I did jump when he put the thing in there, when he put in the gadget to get the catheter in, and he was like, don't move. And thankfully everything was fine. I still do have some tailbone soreness, guys. I don't know if it's from that, but that's just a sidebar. But yeah, so I got the epidural, that went fine. It wasn't as painful as you would think because the contractions are going to be more powerful than anything else. It's just pressure. Kind of feels like you hit your funny bone, like your elbow. And when he's putting the thing in there, it's like such a weird, funny pressure feeling that you almost have like this reflex to jump. But turned out okay. Don't jump though when they're giving you the epidural. What else? So got that, and I was able to sleep until the morning. By the time I woke up around 7:30, because again, that was for the last time that I woke up. I woke up a few times throughout the night. But by 7:30 in the morning, my body began pushing on its own. That epidural only worked on the left side of my body. So the right side, and this is common, the right side wasn't all that numb. So I could kind of feel what was going on my right side. My body started to push, and I at least felt enough of that pressure to know, like, okay, call the nurses, it's time to go. They called my midwife. She was there within like 15 minutes, and they told me, don't push, sweetie, like you gotta wait until the nurse gets here. And I'm like, okay. I let my body do what it was gonna do though. I'm tuned into my body. I trust myself. If my body says it's time to push, I'm not gonna hold the baby in, but I'm also not gonna bear it down. I just kind of embraced the pressure sensation. You kind of, what it reminds you of is like when you vomit and you kind of go like that. My body was just heaving in that way. And I just let my body heave. And the midwife came in. She was awesome. She literally took control of the whole situation, put me at ease, just delivered my baby so well. Like, everything went smoothly. I was tired. It's a very, very tiring experience being in pain for that long of a time, and just all the stress that is on your body. And she came in, scrubbed up, got the nurses and everyone lined up where they needed to go, propped my legs up, got my son's dad holding one leg and the nurse holding the other. And she just went right in and started sweeping my membranes because I wasn't pushing hard enough. And, you know, I told her, I'm like, I'm so tired. And she was like, nope, you can't get tired. Like we are bringing this baby into the world right now. Let's go. Let's do this. We don't have time for tired. And I was just like, okay. And I'm looking at my son's dad and I'm like, I'm so tired. He turned his whole face. He looked at me. He was like, like, I'm not messing with you, girl. Like, push. And I look at the other nurse and I'm like, help me. And she put a oxygen mask over my face and was just like, I don't know, I guess that was supposed to help. And I just felt like I was pushing against a brick wall. Like I didn't feel like I was making any progress. I couldn't really feel. I could halfway feel, but not really. And but from whatever I was doing, when she swept my membranes, that's when they go in, just to be a little graphic, with 2 fingers, and they just like press down on your cervix. So she sticks her fingers in down into your cervix and just sweeps back and forth. That's what it's called. And it forced my body to heave even harder. And it felt like I was vomiting, but like down there. And it was just like, and I would push. And it only took her doing that about 3 or 4 times for his head to pop out. You felt the burning sensation, right? When the head was coming through. I just bared down. Honestly, I didn't even have to push that hard because my body was doing a lot of the pushing for me because of this from the sweeping. And his head came through. You felt the burning. It was some slight tearing that went on, but nothing major. And he popped right out and he was healthy. He cried right away. I wasn't expecting them to like pull him out and put him right on me after, but they did. And I'm just like, I was so tired that I just wanted them to hold him for me for a moment so I could like gather myself because I was exhausted. I needed water. My mouth was all dry. I pushed for a total of they said 40 minutes, but I feel like it was closer to like 20. They always say that you push you don't even realize how much time is going by. But he was born healthy. Everything was just, it exceeded my expectations. I didn't need much medical intervention. As an African-American woman, I was very concerned about hemorrhaging because I know that that's common, but my blood loss was minimal. My placenta was delivered, no problem. I did not keep it. I did not choose to freeze it or anything. Why? A lot of women will freeze dry their placenta and take it, and there's supposed to be nutritional benefits, but I was on the fence about it during my pregnancy, and I definitely hadn't made my mind up by the time I went into labor. So we didn't do anything with the placenta. And I'll tell you, that my takeaways, because I want to wrap this video up, it's way too long already. My takeaways is that when you go into labor, or even before, right? If you have a few hours while you're having your contractions at home, waiting it out, make sure that you prepare food for the hospital. I would even do this beforehand, like get some freezer meals together. Just bring as much fresh food as possible with you to the hospital because you're going to be so exhausted, especially if you're breastfeeding. It takes so much energy. You're burning so much calories. And my mistake was that I relied completely on hospital food and it just wasn't nutritional. Like they were bringing me puddings and, like whatever meat they had. And I'm not trying to kick dirt. Like it was a great hospital. I delivered at community hospital. But again, my nutritional standards are pretty high, right? I eat pretty clean. So I wanted like greens and like fresh food and I didn't have that. So, and that's what really will help you. Your baby needs those nutrients. You need those nutrients. So I would suggest, these are my takeaways, bring fresh food, granola bars if you can. Make like some fresh fruit cups and like some Tupperware. Bring that up there to the hospital. For after those 2 days while you're in the hospital, you're gonna need all the nutrients you can get, all the good food that you can get. And you can always order out too, but I'm telling you, you're so hungry all the time, you don't even want to wait the 30 to 45 minutes for your food to be delivered. So first 2 nights in the hospital are gonna be rough because there's gonna be a lot of cluster feeding. As your milk is coming in, your baby's gonna want to constantly be on your breast if you're lucky enough for them to latch right away, right? And you don't have any problems. Noah latched, no issue, because after I pushed him out, I immediately started putting him on the boob. That's what I heard is the best thing to do. The baby is like, wants to soothe itself because it just went through a traumatic experience. So the best time is to right after you give birth. The nurse wanted to like slow me up. She's like, wait till you get to recovery. Hold on. And I'm like, okay. Putting him on my boob anyways. Yeah, so he latched. It was good. My milk came in after about, I would say 2 days. My milk was fully in. The colostrum came out first. It's that thick yellow, goldeny, super nutritional stuff for the baby at first. It was painful. And I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna kind of dread every feeding because your nipples are getting used to that sort of aggression. But I didn't crack, I didn't bleed. Like, some women really be going in with that stuff. I used lanolin. If I had it here, I would show you guys because I actually still use it for my chapped lips. But that's just the honest truth. It really helps with chapped lips. But the lanolin cream helped with the chapping around the nipple area. You know, it's gonna be tender, but he was fine for me. He didn't have a super harsh latch. What else can I say is a good takeaway? I would just say, honestly, the food part, guys. Make sure you prepare. Have some stuff at home for when you come home from the hospital. You don't want to be ordering out all the time. It's fattening and, you know, it's expensive. So just prepare ahead of time if you can. Some healthy, balanced meals. Your partner is going to try to support you as much as they can, but it really helps when you have energy and you get that from your food, you know? So what else? Giving birth during a pandemic was not as bad as you might think, right? Not having my family there sucked, but when you have a newborn baby, you kind of don't want a lot of people around anyway. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise in that aftermath, especially the first 2 weeks being home. Just immediate family was there. And yeah, if you guys want to know any other details, if you have any questions at all, leave me a comment down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it. I can't think of anything else, any other takeaways, but that's my birth story. Noah is almost 1 year old and it's been an amazing year. So many ups and downs. But overall, those first 2 nights in the hospital were definitely the roughest. You will get on a routine. You will establish a schedule. It will get easier by each passing week. And just embrace it because it goes by super fast. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Say hi to mom.